Hey, it's Dorleen, and today I'm working on a card using the gel prints that we worked on earlier. That's just a really quick thumb through of what we've done. And if you're interested in looking at that video, just look through my index and you will be able to find it. So I'm really concentrating on that diamond area and just kind of embellishing around there. So I don't want to hide too much of that mono print. So I'm using that stamp set. It's called Spring in the Desert, and I purchased that from Fun Stamper's Journey, which is now Spellbinders. They do have a website. I don't know if the stamp set is still available, but you can check there. What I decided to do is, because there were so many small stamps, I got a larger acrylic block and then stamped them all at the same time. I decided to fill that scrap piece of white cardstock with just the multiple stamps, and I figured if I'm making one card, I might as well make more. What I'm using right now are some stamp pads, or excuse me, some ink pads that I've had in my stash. I actually had to go through because I forgot what colors a lot of those were. So you saw that index card with the solid squares. I actually went through each stamp or ink pad and stamped a square so I knew what the colors were. What I'm using also is called a finger sponge dauber. So what I do is you just put your ink on the cushion that's on the top, and I did a very light hand around the outside edges, and then I did a heavier hand in the center to just kind of help with shading. Now it's a good idea to do a lighter hand because you can always add more ink. It's harder to take it away, and you can see that by that little sprig that I did on the bottom. I put way too much ink on that, cleaned it off a little bit, and then did the rest. I decided to pull down my pens and also some of my other ink pads because I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm going to tell you I am not the best person on coloring, but I do understand that it is nice to have a little bit of shading instead of just a solid color. So I thought I would just kind of play with my products. So right now, again, I'm using an ink pad, but this time I'm using a blender pen. I decided to make those leaves like a silver blue color because that still kind of reminded me of like a succulent, the desert, things like that. So with that blending pen, it helps, well, blend the ink. And those, I'm going to call them paddles. I know these all have really specific names, but I don't know what they are. My mom and my sister live in Arizona, and they have those beautiful paddle-like cactuses. And for the most part, they're green, but there's these beautiful purple ones, and they're so pretty. I really tried hard to shade and make those pretty, and they were not. But trust me, they look good at the end. I do a little bit more shading later. I was a lot lighter hand when I was playing with it. And I just kept playing with it because I was determined to make those work. I wanted them to be purple. And I didn't have a lot of purple markers or not even ink pens, which was really interesting. Then what I did was for each particular plant, I did them all the same, and I thought that would just be so much easier. So like with the larger succulents, I used the same ink pads, the same shading. With those paddle cactuses, I did them all purple. With these flowers, again, I don't know what they're called, I did that lighter like a rose color, and then I chose that darker mauve to kind of shade, and then just use different ink markers that I had, ink pads, just different things to just play with. And I think that's one thing that's a good lesson is, we have these products. This hobby is supposed to be fun, and sure, we want it to turn out perfect every time, but that is not always going to happen. So right here with this the smaller succulent, I was using the blender pen, I was doing this, doing that, and then I realized, you know what, I'm just going to put that marker straight on it because it really was just so much easier, and it was less work to do it that way. But I do like it still because I was still able to get some of that shading, and I hope you can see that with this video. I do a very close-up view of the final card at the very end, so you will see more of that at the very end. If you want more details about what I used, the products I used, just information about this card, you can go to my blog, which I will have listed below. I'm also going to take this time to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Oh, I'm pointing out, you see how I shaded that a little bit more? And, I'm going to tell you again, that is not perfect. I'm not winning awards, but I love the way it looks. And what I'm doing right now is I'm fussy cutting each plant. So I know a lot of people use dies and things like that, but I'm fine with fussy cutting. The main thing is to have sharp, small scissors. And one of my tips is, and you'll see me do it really on this one, is try not to use or move the scissors very much. So your best bet is to move the paper. And you can see that with my left hand, how much I'm jerking it back and forth, how much I'm kind of twirling it and moving it and really moving that hand, where you look at my right hand and for the most part the scissors are just straight up and just cutting, right? And I hope I'm showing you that. It just makes it a lot easier. And fussy cutting is a lot, but when you're only working on a card or two or a couple of images, it's so worth it and it looks so pretty. Once I fussy cut, oh my goodness, once I fussy cut all the images, I placed them at the top of my work area so that way I knew what I was working with. Right now I'm stamping the sentiment in the middle of that diamond. I just bought that brand new stamp set and I got that one from Close to My Heart, and it's called Tender Thoughts. And I hate to say it, but I have been sending out so many sympathy cards lately, and I know it's terrible, but I also know how important it is to send especially those cards. I know when my dad passed away, I I didn't realize how important that was. It's just a very thoughtful thing to do when you do have the chance. If you're ever leaning towards whether you should or you shouldn't, I'm going to tell you you should. Okay, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. But anyhow, so right now I'm just playing with the images. I'm trying to decide what looks good and what area. And I really, I think that especially when you put it all together with that purple background, it looks so pretty. And I hope you agree. I think I mentioned earlier and I got caught off because I wanted to show you something, but if you're not already, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you have any comments, please leave them up below, or any questions, I will surely answer them. One of my go-to things is to use a black ink pen and just draw borders on things, which you saw me do right there on that diamond, and you'll see me do that later on the actual card. I'm using liquid adhesive to adhere those pieces onto the card. That card front was a gel print, which I mentioned earlier, which we used acrylic paint. So it was kind of a rough edge and a little thick. Now, usually I use, just a double-sided tape runner, but I knew that it wouldn't last. It wouldn't stay long. It wouldn't have been strong enough to hold those. So when you use a liquid adhesive, first of all, it gives you a little wiggle room. So if you're not happy like I just did right there, I pulled it off and then moved it. But also it's a more secure hold. So I use the Nuvo, which I love mostly because it has the built-in fine tip, which a lot of adhesives don't. But, again, I'm just figuring out where I want to put each element. And I end up putting the diamond on some 3D adhesive. So when I'm gluing the portions that are kind of half on, half off, the one side is just the liquid glue that's going directly onto the diamond shape. And then the other side would have the 3D dimensional as well, so that it's even and it sticks to the card front. As I was putting that on, I just felt like it needed some glitz. So I decided to grab some of my gold thread, and I try my best to bundle it up without making it look too crazy. I love those people who just grab thread and it just looks so easy, and I'm not one of those people, but it looks good enough. And I adhered that down. I added some extra glue, which you didn't see me do. And then also with the 3D dimensional, dimensional adhesive that's on that diamond also held it down there. So I'm, adding the elements. This little sprig right here, it's kind of half on, half off. And I glued it onto the diamond without realizing I probably should have put a piece of that dimensional over on that portion that was off. And so I'm using this tool that I have on in my right hand. Again, I have these tools and you kind of forget about them because you're just so, or at least that's how I am. And I it was an easy way to kind of, I don't want to say shove, but place, that's a better word, place that three-dimensional underneath there without really ruining or moving any of the other elements that were already stuck down. So I really hope you like it. I added some gold glitter marker there, again, just to kind of coordinate with, excuse me, that gold thread. And this right here is a script stamp that I have that I use for everything. And I didn't want it to be that dark, solid black. So that's why you see me stamp off first. But I just like that. I just felt like it needed something on that background. Even though that purple gel print is just really pretty, I just needed a little something. And you'll see me soon grab a white pen, and I just draw some kind of random circles over in the top left corner. And even though it's not in your face and noticeable for the most part, if you know, once you look at the card and then really view it, you start seeing all those elements and all the different layers and all the different things that you don't realize that make the cards that much prettier. Again, I hope you do like that card. You'll see a close-up at the end with more of that shading. You can go to my blog to see more information. And again, hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. I look forward to sharing more videos with you. I do scrapbooking videos, cards, and mixed media, and also Cricut videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.